This video will demonstrate how to create a case in the Salesforce system, which can be useful if you just want to create a case on your own, or most usually when someone is called into the knock line and you want to create a case from a phone call. The most important thing to remember when creating a case is that you have to do this from either a contact or an account page. So let's say someone's called in and they've announced themselves from Belmont Police. The easiest way to find this is just to go to the universal search box and start typing in Belmont and look for the answers that come up. In this case, it's Belmont Police Department, so we're going to click on that. This brings us to the Belmont Police Department record. Now, you could create a case from here, but if you want to be able to have the system automatically notify the person you're speaking with when there's changes to the cases, you want to do so from their contact record. So you want to look for their contact record. If you see it in the top three over here, that's great. If you don't, you can choose View All. So let's say I need to do View All, and it was actually Pete Lottie who's calling me, and I want to create this case under Pete Lottie as the contact. So let me go into his contact record. So now that you are at the contact record for Pete Lottie, the easiest way to create a case is to mouse over the cases icon right there and scroll over here and choose New. This will bring up the new case creation page. When you're creating a new case in the system, you have three options. Most of the time you'll use internal. If it is a case that you're creating specifically because you want to e-bond with Atos or Lumen, you will use one of these two buttons. I will cover those in a separate video. For now, let's just assume we want to use internal, which is the most common option you'll use for creating new cases. Click on the next button. The standard case information window will come up, so you'll type in a subject. This is a test case. Type in a description. Make this long enough to give all the details that you want to provide for this case, so people can know what the case is about. Internal only is a special designation that's used to determine whether or not you want the contact or an external user to be notified of changes to the case. So your two options, it's a required field, your two options are internal only, meaning only Synergem people will ever be notified about this case. And that you would use if you were creating a case for some simple update for a site, like changing a PDU or some other internal maintenance issue that you're creating for a site where you don't want the site users to actually be notified of the case. It's not really important to them. All would be somewhere, a case where you do want the users to be notified. Typically, if someone is called in to report an issue, you want to use the All option. So now they will get notified of all the communications that happen within the case. Status will stay at New. You do not need to change that. Case origin is required, but in this case, you can just use phone or whatever the case origin is. And that's really all you need to include, because since you selected this from the contact record for Pete Lottie, you'll see both the account name and the contact name are already identified. If you want to set a priority for the case, you can. And in this case, since we're not e-bonding or anything else like that, simply just choose the Save button, and that will create the new case. I'm actually going to, in this instance, delete Pete Lottie because I created this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back and make this an internal only. So now when I click the Save button, even though this is in the demo system, it would have sent an email out to Pete Lottie saying I created a new case, and I did not want to do that. So I went back and chose internal only. That's how you create a new case. So let's save that. And so I see 23,749 was created. It actually takes you directly to that case. So here's the feed view of the case. And you'll see if you go back to your all views, let's do an update on this one. There it is, 23,749 is the new case that we just created. So that's how you create a new case from the user interface, most often for inbound cases that are started from a phone call.